Hello, today we are looking at expressing remainders in division problems as fractions. Something a little bit new for most of you. Our objective is after viewing this lesson, you will calculate or solve division problems and write the remainder as a fraction. So we're going to start off with some together. The first one is 313 divided by 2. And I put over here the little steps that we do: divide, multiply, and subtract. So let's start this together. First thing that I do is divide, so I'm going to put a little mark there. And can 2 go into 3? Yes, it can. How many times can it go into 3 without going over it? It goes once. Then I look over here and now I multiply. 1 times 2 is 2. And then I go down here and I subtract. 3 minus 2 equals 1. Then I'm going to bring down this number and I start all over again. And I divide. So I'm just going to put a little mark that way. Can 2 go into 11? It certainly can. And it goes in there 5 times. That's the most it can go in there without going over it. Multiply. Put my little mark there. 2, or I should probably say 5 times 2 is 10. And I write that down here. And the next thing I do, you got it, is I subtract. 11 take away 10 is 1. I bring this down and I divide. Now I'm going to put the mark over here. I'm going to write that down. So 13 divided by 2. Well, 6 times 2 is 12, so I'm going to say 6 times. And then I multiply. 6 times 2 is 12. And then I subtract. Put that there, put my little mark by the subtraction. 13 take away 12 is 1. And I'm going to stop there because I don't have any other numbers to bring down. So my remainder is 1, but we're expressing the remainder as a fraction. So I put this over this. So I put the remainder of 1 up here, and I put it over 2 because the problem was divided by 2. Not too hard. Let's move on to the next one. We'll do several together and then you can try it on your own. 679 divided by 6. Let's start off by dividing. Can 6 go into 6? Yep. Goes in there once. Then I multiply. 1 times 6 is 6. And then in case I get a little confused, I have it right over here. I look over here and it says next I subtract. 6 take away 6 is 0. And I bring down the 7. I'm going to extend that a little bit. And I'm back up here. I divide. 7 divided by 6 is 1. And then I multiply. 1 times 6 is 6. And then I subtract. 7 take away 6 is 1. And then I bring this down. And I start all over again. I divide. Put it on this side. A little mark by there. 19 divided by 6 is 3. Then I multiply. 3 times 6 is 18. And then I subtract. 9 take away 8 is 1. And 1 take away 1 is 0. And there aren't any more numbers to bring down. And since we want the remainder as a fraction, I'm going to put the 1 over the 6. So our answer is 113 and 1/6. Now if it gets a little bit confusing, if I'm going too fast, just you can pause it or slow it down or go over it again. Let's try one more. Oh, I want you to try this. I'm going to just give you a little bit of time. I want you to try this in your notebook. And in your notebook, also put down the divide, multiply, and subtract. And put your little marks by it. So I'm going to let you try it, and I'm going to sit quietly. And then I'll come back. Okay, so if you're not done, which I'm sure most of you aren't, pause the video and do it, and then turn it back on because I'm going to start. So it's 756 divided by 5. So I'm going to start off with dividing. Can 5 go into 7? Yes, and it goes in there one time. Next thing I do is multiply. 1 times 5 is 5. Next thing I do is subtract. 7 take away 5 is 2. And I bring down the 5. And then I divide. 25 divided by 5 is 5. Then I multiply. 5 times 5 is 25. And then I look over there, and what comes next? I subtract. That's what I just did. Is there a number to bring down? Yes. So I'm going to draw my little arrow. Not necessary, but that just keeps me going in the right direction. And I put the 6 down here. And 6 divided by, I'm dividing 5, is 1. And 1 times 5 is 5. And then I subtract. 6 take away 5 is 1. And there aren't any more numbers to bring down. So I'm going to express the fraction or the remainder as a fraction. So I put it up here, and then I put this number right here. So our answer is 151 1/5. Like I said, if something doesn't make sense, you pause it and go over it again, or write down a question and we can talk about it tomorrow. Let's look at another one. Another one, your turn. So I want you to pause the video, write down 78 divided by 3. And I'm going to start by dividing. Does 3 go into 7? Yes. It goes in there 2 times. Multiply. 2 times 3 is 6. And then I'm going to subtract. 7 take away 6, oopsie, is 1. And I bring down the 8. Okay. And then I say, can 18 divided by 3, can it be divided by 3? Yes, it can. It goes in there 6 times. And then I multiply. The 6 times the 3 is 18. And then I subtract. So here I'm subtracting, and I get 0. Well, there aren't any more numbers to bring down, and it really would be silly to put 0 over 3. You could, but 0 over 3, or thinking about it, if you have 0 pieces of 3, you really have 0. So your answer is just 26, and you can just leave it at that. Next one, it's quiz time. So I want you to pause it. I want you to do the work. And then you can link to the quiz. This one I did, it's a little bit kind of a silly one. For number 4, because I want to make sure that you listen to the video, is Mrs. Lau the oldest child in her family, the youngest child, the middle child, or the only child? And I am the youngest child, so you would put B for number 4. Number 5, you're going to give me a pulse of how you're understanding it. Do you get it, not get it, kind of get it? And then after you're done with that, like I said, it's a link on the website. The next page, write down any questions that you have and we'll discuss them tomorrow in class. And that's it for now. I will see you tomorrow. Have a good night. Bye.